The right cheese to sauce ratio, the perfect crispy undercarriage, and no pizza oven required. Years of trial and error for me, a couple of minutes for you. Today, we're making All right, today we're making the real deal. And I was born in Jersey, so I'm gonna count this as authentic. Our first move is to make a pre-ferment. So we're gonna take a time machine back to last night. I've got 75 grams of bread flour here, and to that I'll add equal parts water. And then 1 pinch or 1 gram of dry yeast. This is called a poolish, and it's like steroids for the fermentation process. This is going to give the dough a springier and airier texture and add some complex and fermented flavors. Plus, it helps with digestibility. Mix it well, and when it's combined, close it up, and I use a rubber band to check the rise. Let it sit overnight or up to 16 hours. The next morning, when it's doubled in size and jiggly, you're good to go. Okay, back to the future. Now that we've got our pre-ferment, it's time to make our dough. I'm adding our jiggly friend here to 260 grams of room temperature water. Mix that until it's fully combined, using a more efficient utensil than a tiny spoon. Then I'm going in with 475 grams of bread flour. We're going to let this come together in a stand mixer or by hand until it's in a sort of shaggy, not fully incorporated state. Let this monstrosity rest for 10 to 15 minutes. This process is called an autolyse, and it helps the dough hydrate and relax while letting the gluten develop, which makes for a stronger and stretchier structure than throwing everything in at once. Once the time's up, we're going to add 1 gram of dry yeast. Then, a minute or two later, add 16 grams of salt and 7 grams of sugar. I've fine-tuned this recipe over the years to work in a home oven, and I've found that this amount of sugar helps us get some browning without making the dough too sweet. I have some upcoming recipes for the outdoor pizza oven folks. After about 5 minutes, or once the dough has a visibly smooth texture, get it into a rough ball and cover it. We're going to let this rise at room temperature until it's about doubled in size. This should take about 3 to 6 hours depending on the weather. Then go ahead and deflate it because it should have formed a lot of air bubbles, especially if you're using a pre-ferment. Then we're going to form it into individual 300-gram dough balls. I use this sort of tuck under method and then roll it out on the board to seal the bottom. But you can use any method you like. I'm lightly oiling some individual containers, and I'm going to let these proof in the fridge for another 1 to 3 days to develop a better flavor and texture. Or you can leave it out and use it tonight if you want to rush it. Take it out of the fridge and cover it 3 to 4 hours before you plan on using it, to let the dough relax and come up to room temperature. Next, let's address the sauce. Lots of New York pizza shops use Alta Cucina brand tomatoes, some use Red Pack, there's a lot of others. I opt for San Marzano tomatoes, which are brighter and less sweet. These are more common in New Haven style pizza, like Sally's or Frank Pepe's, but use what you feel is right. I like to keep it simple with dried oregano and some salt to taste. Time to stretch out our dough. Start by pressing it out by hand, and I'm looking for a nice even distribution here to avoid any thin spots. And I'm not too concerned about developing a massive crust on the edges, but if you're a big fan of that, press the air up to the edges as you go. There's lots of methods here, but I spin it around and press it out. We want it thin here, but not transparent. Once it starts to get there, pick it up and rotate it while holding the outer edges to prevent thin spots toward the center and develop that slight outer crust that I like. Once it's there, I like to get it onto a wooden pizza peel. Now go in with a solid layer of sauce. Distribute it as even as possible. And you might notice that I lost my ladle. Now we'll address the cheese. I'm using some pre-sliced boar's head, low-moisture mozzarella from the deli at my grocery store. I've tested a lot of cheeses, and this one's my favorite. It has the right fat content, and I find that it's easier to get the right amount of cheese when using sliced versus shredded. Go for somewhat full coverage without too much stacking. Next, hit it with some grated Parmesan. And a few more dollops of our sauce. Then get it into your oven as hot as it'll go. Mine goes to 550, and I'm using a pizza steel, which conducts heat better than a pizza stone. Opt for the thickest one you can find and preheat it for at least an hour. Then, once the bottom is where you like it, take it out and underwhelming. This is not what I promised today. But never fear, this is a two-stage process. Similar to Guga's, I know it doesn't look that good right now, but watch this thing. This thing's going back in the oven one more time. But first, I'll add some oregano, a little red pepper flake for heat, and a tiny bit of salt. Lastly, I'm throwing on some fresh basil leaves. And I'll give a drizzle of olive oil on each so they fry up in the oven without becoming shriveled up and dry. Now I'm getting it under the broiler as hot as it'll go. This is going to char the top of the pie and get some dark spots on the upper crust. Then, when it looks good, take it out and get it onto a wire rack for a few minutes. This is going to prevent the bottom from steaming and getting soggy on the wood board. Admire your undercarriage for a minute, and you should notice some micro blisters. Then cut it into however many slices you want. I'm going for a big New York style slice here. And there it is. The right ratio of stuff, a springy and airy interior, crispy undercarriage, the thing dreams are made of. As always, the full recipe is in the description down below. Give a like and subscribe if you liked the video today, and all that's left to do is to see how we did. It's everything you want in a New York slice. Crispy, tangy, the right amount of cheese. Makes me want to do the fold like back home. Wow. All right, we did it. I'll see you guys later.